Hey everyone, it's attorney Bianca Jordan from brazenlegal.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Today's video is hot off the presses. It's about DACA and the Supreme Court's decision today. But before I get into the Supreme Court case and what the decision means for people that either have DACA or would want to apply for DACA, I want to first provide a background for DACA for the people that don't really know what DACA is. So back in June 2012, actually June 16th, 2012 to be exact, President Obama created the DACA program. And DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And it's an immigration benefit that is for people who came to the United States as children. And it enables them for periods of 2 years to have protection from deportation, and they're able to get work cards. In order to qualify for DACA initially, you needed to be in the United States since 2007. You needed to be 31 years old or under as of June 16th, 2012. You needed to either be in school, whether it's high school, elementary school, college, or if you're not in school, you had to have been an honorably discharged veteran. And you can't have had any serious crimes, so no major felonies, aggravated felonies, misdemeanors, things like that. So applications for DACA began being accepted August 2012. Then fast forward to November 2014, President Obama decided that he wanted to expand DACA and create a whole new program for parents. So under the DACA expansion, he extended the time that you had to be in the United States from 2007 to 2010 to enable more people to apply for DACA. In addition to that, President Obama also created DAPA, which was Deferred Action for Parental Arrivals. And under the DAPA program for parents, parents of U.S. citizen children or green card holding children would have been able to enjoy the same benefits as people that had DACA. A lot of states weren't having it. So Texas, along with 26 other states, sued in federal court saying that President Obama could not implement DACA, the DACA expansion, as well as creating the new program for parents because it violated the Administrative Procedures Act, amongst other things, including the Immigration and Nationality Act, which is the United States immigration laws. The Administrative Procedures Act point is going to be very important when I start to discuss the Supreme Court case and what happened today. So a lot of states sued for the past couple of years. A lot of states have been suing. Texas and all of these other states were allowed to get an injunction, meaning that the government was forbidden from implementing the expanded DACA and creating the new DACA program for parents. And fast forward to June 2017, this administration just canceled DACA altogether, said that we're not going to do it, we can't do it. And then fast forward to September 5th, 2017, this administration decided that it was going to end DACA. And in addition to ending DACA, it said that people who already had DACA were able to renew their status until October 5th, 2017. So you might remember back around that time, there was a mad scramble for people who have DACA to apply for DACA before October 5th, 2017. And then the administration said that it would no longer be issuing advanced parole, which is also going to be important to understand and when I get into the case today, as well as prohibiting people who had never before applied for DACA from doing it now. Again, a lot of different lawsuits were happening. The government obviously trying to sustain its decision to end DACA, while a lot of other people were trying to sue to keep DACA going because they were alleging that this administration's decision to end DACA violated the Administrative Procedures Act. And the Administrative Procedures Act, or the APA for short, is basically a law that governs the way people can make regulations. You can't just make a regulation because you want to. You have to have backup evidence to support why you're doing this. And in addition, the APA requires a certain comment period in order to allow people to comment on certain regulations. For example, the new public charge rule that went into effect February 24th of this year. Years ago, the administration announced that it would be making those changes, and under the APA, it allowed for a comment period so that attorneys and advocates had the opportunity to voice their concerns and opinions about this administration's decision to change the way that the public charge rule would be implemented. So same thing here. So the Supreme Court had to then decide whether or not it could even review the administration's decision under the APA. So that is what the Supreme Court needed to decide in this case, amongst other things. So today, the Supreme Court decided that not only does it have the jurisdiction to review this administration's decision to end DACA, but the Supreme Court also found that this administration's decision to end DACA violated the Administrative Procedures Act, and therefore their decision to end DACA must be vacated, which means that DACA is here to stay for now. And I emphasize for now because the Supreme Court did not say that this administration can never end DACA. It just said that the way in which it went about it in September 2017 violated the Administrative Procedures Act. So that means this administration can end DACA as long as they go about doing so the right way, as long as they go about doing it in a way that complies with the Administrative Procedures Act. So what does this mean for people that have DACA or would have wanted to apply for DACA? First, if you have DACA, you can continue to renew your work status, and you're probably encouraged to do so because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Again, this administration can decide to go through the proper channels and end DACA the right way. However, it might be unlikely that they'll do that because it is an election year. Their priorities might be on other things. But I don't know. They could decide to get it together and try to end DACA before the election. If he gets reelected, they can decide to make that a priority in the next term. A lot can happen. But as of right now, if you have DACA, you might want to renew your work hard status. And they've been doing them pretty quickly. USCIS has been approving those rather quickly, even despite COVID. I've heard situations where people have had their DACA renewed in as little as 3 days. Not guaranteed for every case, but it is possible. And the general consensus is that USCIS is approving DACA renewals rather quickly. So I would encourage you to renew your DACA, assuming you don't have any criminal issues. If you do, definitely speak with an immigration attorney first. Another thing to note about today's decision is that since the 2017 end of DACA was deemed illegal under the Administrative Procedures Act, then it makes sense that DACA would return to what it was as of that day. And as of that day, before they decided to end it, people who had never applied for DACA before were able to do so. Now, USCIS hasn't come out yet and said that they will begin accepting new applications, but under the Supreme Court ruling, it makes sense that they would have to eventually. In addition to that, they would also have to eventually start accepting applications for advanced parole. And that's very important for people that have DACA, but before they got DACA, maybe they came to the United States undocumented, and then they got DACA, and then they married a U.S. citizen. Those people would have been able to adjust their status, but for the fact that they came here undocumented. So those people would still have to go through consular processing despite the fact that they're married to a U.S. citizen. The problem with that is if you're in the United States undocumented for more than 6 months or more than a year, then if you ever leave the United States and come back, you can't come back for 3 years or 10 years, depending on how long you were in the United States undocumented. But if you're able to get advanced parole through your DACA, then you're able to leave the United States and come back. And when you come back, that is considered a lawful entry into the United States. Therefore, you now qualify to adjust your status. So that's something that, if that's your situation, definitely speak with an immigration attorney before you do anything, because those types of cases can tend to be a little bit complicated. And lastly, for people that never applied for DACA, for people that were in the United States before the cutoff date in 2007 that had never applied for DACA, because of the Supreme Court's ruling, those people should be able to apply for DACA. But again, USCIS has not said anything. This case was literally decided 2 hours ago, so USCIS has not yet made a statement or anything as to when it will begin to accept new DACA applications and or when it will begin to accept applications for advanced parole. But again, DACA is still alive for now. The administration can still end DACA if it goes about doing so the right way, and people that currently have DACA are encouraged to renew their status and, if possible, apply for advanced parole so that you can leave and come back and possibly adjust your status if that is your situation. I hope you found this video helpful. Please visit brazenlegal.com to learn more about me and my law firm. And if you have any questions about DACA or if you'd like to discuss your own immigration case, feel free to reach out. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. Thanks so much for watching.